How much are we talking total?
Right now it's $590.19.
You guys got any more of them Harbor Freight coupons back there?
I believe I use everything I could for you.
I just bought the cheapest lawn tools from Harbor Freight, and today we're gonna see if these extremely cheap lawn tools are worth your money. We have a very exciting product. This is Harbor Freight's 80-volt electric battery mower. And this mower costs a total of $270 plus another $140 for the battery plus another $50 for the charger, bringing the grand total to $460 out the door. And this mower has some raving reviews on the Harbor Freight website. It has 4.5 stars out of 5. And if we open up the battery compartment, we see there's 2 compartments for batteries, but actually this mower only uses 1 battery to run, and then you have the option for a second battery to act as a backup, which is nice because my Milwaukee mower requires 2 batteries just to operate it. With this mower, you can buy 1 battery and you could start mowing right away without having a second. Now, my favorite part about this mower is that it has a single lever here to adjust the height of cut, which means you don't have to go to all 4 tires just to move up and down your mower. Feels very solid, doesn't feel cheap or chintzy like it's gonna break. So let's test this thing out. So overall, I gotta say that I'm very impressed with this mower. Did a great job cutting the grass over here in this field. So just like on my Milwaukee mower, this one is self-propelled as well. And in order to engage the blade, you just kind of have to hold this button down and then push down on this lever. It's really quiet. I have the volume set to about -6 decibels, and you can kind of hear how loud the mower is right now compared to my voice. So if you guys are like me and you like mowing your lawns really early in the morning, then you can go ahead and use this mower no problem, and you're not going to annoy your neighbor. And then it also has this speed engagement lever right here. So whether you want to walk slower or walk faster, you can do that. And then once you push the gas on the mower, it'll take you at the pace you want. And I'd say that it's very comparable to some of the more top of the line battery mowers like the Eagle and the Milwaukee. Not quite as luxurious, but for the price point, I don't think you can do much better than this when it comes to a battery mower. And for that, I'm going to agree with Harbor Freight's reviews and give this mower 4.5 stars. Next up, we have one of the most underrated lawn tools of all time, the Lawn Edger. And if you guys don't have one of these by now, I highly recommend you pick up one because it can make the biggest difference in the aesthetic of your lawn. And this is Harbor Freight's cheapest and actually their only Lawn Edger. And this is in the Atlas line of tools, just like the mower that we just reviewed. So this edger costs $100, and we ended up using the same battery and charger that we used for the mower. And those two together cost $190. So all in for this edger, if you don't have a battery and charger, it's gonna end up costing you about $290, which is a pretty comparable price to that Toro edger that we have hanging up over there. So I have high expectations for this edger, just considering its price point. And Harbor Freight claims that this edger has an instant startup time, which is a pretty big deal because that Toro edger I have on the wall usually takes about 1 to 2 seconds to fully start up. And that might not seem like a big deal, but when you're in the field and you're edging a lawn, that extra 1 or 2 seconds could really throw off your momentum. And as per usual, this edger has some raving reviews on the Harbor Freight website at 4.5 out of 5 stars with over 60 reviews. So let's test this thing out. All right, so right off the bat, Harbor Freight's claims about this edger starting up instantly are not quite true. In my testing, I found that this edger takes about ½ a second to get to full speed, which is actually not that bad compared to some other edgers on the market, such as the Toro in my garage. Now, Harbor Freight claims that the engine on this edger is comparable to a 28cc gas engine, which would technically make it more powerful than my Stihl FC56 gas edger. And I could totally believe it because this edger cut through my edges like butter. Even when using my Stihl edger, it bogs down at edges that are well maintained sometimes, and I could definitely tell that this unit is more powerful. Now granted, that edger does have a curved shaft, so that's a little bit of a handicap. So the only negative thing I have to say about this edger is its price point. At that $290 price tag, that opens you up to a whole bunch of different high-end edgers, and the only way I could really recommend this unit is if you already own the Harbor Freight mower plus the batteries and charger. Then at $100, I'd say that this edger is a no-brainer. So I'm going to disagree with Harbor Freight's reviews of this edger and give it 3.5 stars out of 5. Strictly based on value. So we're going to start this off with one of the most essential lawn tools, the string trimmer. Now this one right here is the cheapest one that Harbor Freight sells. It costs $32.99, and this trimmer has some pretty good ratings. It has 4 out of 5 stars out of 2,600 reviews, and that is on Harbor Freight's website, so take that as you will. I guess we'll see today if they're true or not. This trimmer is corded, which means it plugs into an electrical outlet. Now Harbor Freight does sell some trimmers that are battery operated that are around the same price point as this one, but they don't include the battery or the charger. So once you factor in the cost of that battery and charger, then it would put it over double the price of this unit right here. And for budget's sake, we decided to go with the absolute cheapest one they have.
I like money.
Now this is the string trimmer that I use on a daily basis, and it's by far my favorite string trimmer of all time. This unit cost over 10 times more than the Harbor Freight one. But for this one being 1/10 of the price, it feels pretty solid actually. So let's test it out. Okay, so this string trimmer performed way better than expected. To be honest with you, I kind of had low expectations for this thing, but it did a really great job. One thing I really like about this unit is the oversized trigger right here. I have really big hands, and it was super easy for me to just tuck my hand under there and engage the unit. The only con I have to say about this unit is that you do have to plug it into an electrical cord, and to be honest with you, that can be annoying when you're doing yard work. One more thing I'm not really a fan of on this trimmer is the automatic line feed, which means every time you use this trimmer, it automatically puts out a little bit of string. And if we take a look at the guard for this trimmer, there's a little blade right here at the end, and that's what helps keep the trimmer line trim every time you use the machine. The only problem is I don't like using these guards on my trimmers, and if you guys noticed, I wasn't using it while I was testing this unit. Take a look at how much string got ejected while I was doing those edges. I'd say that's about a good 10 to 12 inches right there, but I'm not going to dock off points for that because it's my fault that I didn't use the unit properly. I'm going to go ahead and agree with Harbor Freight's reviews of this trimmer and give it a solid 4 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have a leaf blower, and this is the cheapest one that Harbor Freight sells out of 5 different models, and it costs $47.99. Now this model right here is corded. However, Harbor Freight does sell some models that are battery operated that are fairly priced as well. And I was tempted to purchase the Atlas leaf blower. However, it was $74.99 plus you had the battery and charger. And for the sake of budget, I ended up getting this one because maybe some of you guys are not in that battery line, and this would be a much cheaper option for you. And to nobody's surprise, this unit does have some glowing reviews on harborfreight.com, with users stating that they love its size and power. So my first impressions of this blower is that it's actually pretty powerful. I was not expecting it to pack such a punch. I don't know if you guys could tell when I turn it on right now, there's actually a lot of kickback to it. Look at this. There's a lot of torque output in the fan in this blower, and you could definitely tell that when you're blowing leaves, it does a great job. So there's only 2 negative things I could think of about this blower. Number one, you have to attach it to a cord, which kind of sucks when you're doing your lawn work and it's not that convenient. But at the same time, the unit only costs $47.99, so what can you expect? And the second negative is that the unit is actually pretty loud. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on for you guys so you could hear how loud it is. I mean, that's almost as loud as a gas unit, but at the same time, it is really powerful and it does a good job with the leaves. I'm gonna go ahead and agree with Harbor Freight's reviews of this blower and give it 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, we have the absolute cheapest sprayer in Harbor Freight, and this sprayer costs a whopping $11.99, and it has 4 out of 5 stars on the Harbor Freight website. Now this sprayer here is a pump sprayer, which means you're going to manually need to pump it anytime you want to make your application. However, Harbor Freight does sell 2 sprayers that are battery powered. Just keep in mind, if you get those units, then you're going to have to pay for the batteries and charger separate. So right off the bat, I'm going to tell you guys I have extremely low expectations for the sprayer because it's a direct comparison of this sprayer right here, which is the Home Depot version, and this one right here costs the exact same price, and this is by far the worst sprayer I've ever used. So the bar is set extremely low in this $12 price range. So we're going to test out this unit by spraying some humic acid on my lawn. Alright, so my first impressions of the sprayer, I like it. One thing that sets this sprayer apart from the Home Depot one is it has this pressure release valve right here, which is nice when you're spraying herbicides and things like that. Before you open up the sprayer, you could release the pressure in there. So when you go to open up the cap, just a bunch of herbicide doesn't go on your face. Trust me, that's not fun. It's happened to me before. I also want to talk about the wand on here. This is definitely a step up from the Home Depot version. Now, this is definitely not a great wand. It feels cheap and flimsy, but at least it has this curved elbow right here versus on the Home Depot one, it's a straight shaft. So whenever you're spraying applications on your lawn, you don't have to like put the wand down in order to get an even application. You could kind of just keep it at knee level and you could just spray your lawn easily. Another cool thing this sprayer has is a strap right here. So if you don't want to hold your sprayer, you could just kind of put it on your shoulder while you're spraying and take some of that weight off. Now, if you're a portly guy like me, don't expect this to fit you because this definitely did not fit me. Now, Harbor Freight does sell two versions of this. This one is the one that's just over 1 gallon, but they also sell a 2-gallon version one, which is what I would recommend for most homeowners. And I'm going to disagree with Harbor Freight's reviews and give this sprayer a 5 out of 5, strictly based on value. In that $11 to $12 price range, I don't think you can do better than this. So next up, we got some garden hose quick connects. Now, I originally wasn't going to do a video on these, but when I was at Harbor Freight, I saw them on the shelf and I couldn't help myself. Now, let me tell you guys, these things are a dime a dozen, so I'm actually curious to see how well Harbor Freight's version is. Even over here on the package, it says new, so let's see what they're messing with. The problem with most quick connects that you guys get from the store, like at Home Depot and Lowe's, is that they have a very small diameter inside and it restricts water flow. Not only that, but they're usually very plasticky and they always tend to leak all over the place. I used to have a bunch and I ended up just ditching them in the garbage. So these are the quick connects that I've been using on a regular basis, and they're made by a company called MTM. They specialize in like pressure washer fittings, but they make really good quick connects. These are stainless steel. Now, the reason I got these ones from Harbor Freight is they look like the exact same thing, except the ones from Harbor Freight are made of brass. But take a look at that fitting right there. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if these came from the same exact factory. And if that's the case, these are going to be a steal because these cost $7.99, and then these quick connects for a pack is $30. My first impressions of these quick connect fittings is they're actually pretty awesome. We have it connected over here to my garden hose. You guys can see it's not leaking at the fitting whatsoever. And as I suspected, these are pretty much the same thing as those MTM fittings, which I really like. They have a full metal construction, plus they have that full port in the middle that doesn't really affect water flow too much. Overall, if you guys are looking for some really high quality quick connects, I highly recommend you pick up these. They're going to be much better than anything you can get at Lowe's or Home Depot. And for that reason, I'm going to give these fittings a 5 out of 5.